On the 9th of April, I think, 2018.
That's what it is.
8 days after my eldest child's birthday on April 1st. That's how I think I can remember. Hey, Candace, what's going on? This is Stan Matthews and Samud Scott here in the Matthews broadcast, and we're going to have a great show tonight. We are going to begin the show as we do every show, and that is with gratitude. Saying thank you to those for the opportunity to be behind this microphone and these cameras and be able to do what we do, which is sharing the good news about New Jersey's urban communities and a little bit beyond New Jersey. So I just want to start off by saying the new friends of the Matthews broadcast, I want to say thank you first and foremost to a Mr. Brian Fleming, all the way down in Williamstown, New Jersey. Want to say thank you to Miss Tina Drew. Want to say thank you to Mr. Christopher Johnson. Thank you to Miss Jaren Kenny. Thank you to Miss Erica Asbury. Thank you to the one and only Akbar McIntyre in the Silk City of Patterson. Thank you to Miss Dr. Alberto Anderson. Thank you to Andrew Frazier. Thank you to Matt McClary. Thank you to Tiffany Moultrie. Thank you to Harvetta Fax. Thank you to Vito Maturo, my Italian brother from another mother. Mr. Vernon Bradbury, Dr. Archer Irby, Miss Marissa Cortez, Mr. Mark Smith, Mr. Justice Roundtree, and Miss Shakira Palmer. And out of state, I gotta say thank you to Tyrone Ash. I kept saying on past shows that Tyrone Hollywood, Florida was very close to Tampa. Hollywood, Florida is between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. I should have called Sharon and asked her about that. She's a globetrotter. She would have known. But that's what he told me. He said, no, Hollywood, Florida is between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Tyrone, thank you for all of the support and for being a member of the Matthews Broadcast group of friends. Mr. Haki Ami out of the nation's capital, the success coach, out of Washington, D.C. Have a big conference coming up, Hockey. We will be with you. Miss Leslie Andrews in Honolulu, Hawaii, practicing law with Mr. Stephen Hubby. I don't know how two lawyers live in the same house, but she's my cousin. I guess she turns the lawyer thing off.
I don't know about that.
I got to ask Stephen. Dr. Larry Davis in Fort Worth, Texas, and his best-selling book, The Re-Education of the African American Child. I don't know when you get off the road, but spend some time with your family, or you're going to have the divorce of the black author. So make sure you spend some time at home, all traveling all over the world, talking about the re-education of the black child. Dr. Davis, love you much, brother. Can't wait to see you soon. There are four principles on which this broadcast rests. They are divine alignment, divine empowerment, divine upliftment, and of course, divine enrichment. And they all work in tandem with one another. We call this broadcast the Whole Person Prosperity Broadcast because there is a proverb that says, God rejoices when his people prosper. So the first principle is divine alignment, and right there in the book of the beginnings, the book of Genesis, it says what? It says in chapter 1 verses 26 to 28, God made man and woman in his likeness and image and gave them authority to rule. So when you're living in alignment with who you were born to be, you should have authority over something, right? You should have at least authority over your own mind, maybe your house, right? So living in alignment means that you get some empowerment. And here we could look right into the book of Timothy, where there is a verse that says, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. You are so much more powerful than you know. You can achieve what you will, has been said to us by all of the teachers that have come our way over the years, certainly the African American community. The one and only Marcus Garvey, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. And so now when you are empowered, you have the ability to uplift someone. And here we hear the voice of our one and only poet laureate Maya Angelou saying to us in one of our favorite pieces, right? People may forget what you said, they may even forget what you did, but they will never ever forget how you made them feel, right? So make that other person feel like the king or queen that she or he truly is. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. Final principle, the principle of enrichment. Over 27 times in the Holy Scripture, prosperity is mentioned. Right there in the first Psalm. And he will be like a man planted by the streams of water whose leaf will not wither, right? And whatever he or she, I'm going to add she, doeth, shall prosper. Over and over again, we hear Scripture talking about prospering. Jesus himself in the New Testament is quoted to have said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly, right? Right? And so the book of Mark, on and on, whatever may be bound in heaven may be loosed on earth, and vice versa. So we hear the Scripture saying that prosperity is your birthright, that you should be prospering mentally, you should be prospering physically, you should be prospering in your relationships, you should be prospering in your finance, right? And so whenever you hear anything counter to that, you just point it to them that I didn't say it, but it is in the book of Scripture over 27 times. Too often we hear that we should wait till we get on the other side before we can live that best life, that the best life is waiting for you after the funeral. No. When the disciples came to Jesus and asked him how to pray, he gave them the Lord's Prayer. And in the Lord's Prayer, what did he say? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. On this earth, right? So you're supposed to have your second great time after the funeral, but you're supposed to live your best life now, right? So we would just want to remind you, because we don't want our people to be settling for anything but their best in all things. And so we have two great examples with us this evening, right now in this first segment, about living your best life and about how to help other people to shine and to put a spotlight on them and give them an opportunity, because all too often I have found in my own life that the best way for me to be blessed is to be a blessing to someone else. The best way for me to get something is first to give something, right? And so we have two great examples of that philosophy in studio with us. I am a graduate, proud graduate of Kean University, the class of 1986. And during that time on that campus, I met some wonderful, wonderful people, and we did as much as we could to improve that climate and that place for African American students, for our faculty, and for the campus as a whole. And we have had many people that I went to school with and labored with and fought with on this broadcast. And the last person that we had, Stan Neron, who is now a commissioner on the Elizabeth Board of Education and the Health Department, and just a superstar in every way. We had a great time, did we not?
Oh yeah, it was
with
great.
Stan on the show, but then we got some phone calls. And those phone calls said, yeah, we know about Stan Neron, we heard about Jeffrey Carroll, and we heard about Baruti Kafile, and we heard about Vincent Stallings, and we heard about somebody named Stan something. But there were some ladies that were on that front line helping things to happen. And we haven't heard their names, nor have we seen them. So we just think you have some work to do, brother man. So I got on the phone and I started making some phone calls because I wanted to make sure that we were clear about the truth. There were far more African American students during my time at Kean on that campus that were ladies than there were gentlemen. And there were far more faculty members and administrators that were ladies than there were gentlemen. So the changes that were made, the progress that was made could not happen. You may not have heard of these names, but I know them well. Catherine Dorsey Gaines, thank you
Yes.
Beverly Berry Baker, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dr. Simpson, Barbara Simpson, in our library, thank you. Thank you so much for all that you did, for the books, for the beatdown, for the advice, for all that you did, for all that you did for people that we don't even know their names. You just had a major loss in your family. If you are watching or if you see this broadcast, Dean Murray, thank you. All that you have done for all of those who came through those doors. I even have to say thank you. In May of this year, my namesake, Andre Matthews, will be in the graduation ceremonies, having graduated from the same political science department and the same criminal justice degree. He insisted, unlike his brother who's going to go to Morgan State, he insisted that he go to Kean because of the way he was treated on the campus visit. And so I have to thank those persons that made him feel so welcome. I hope it had something to do with who his daddy was. But tonight, we're going to hear some great things about an education in a great school that was made great by some of the people I mentioned, and two of the people that are here with us this evening. You cannot attend an American university, no matter how local it is, without money. Right? So Cornelius, in my sophomore year, right, I wanted to live on campus, right? So I called California and told my mother, you know what? I want to move on campus. I don't want to work this part-time job. I want to be a full-time student. I want to get involved in this student movement with these people that I've met, these great people that are moving things. And my mother said, son, that's wonderful. So I said, well, I need some money. She said, well, I can give you a whole lot of prayer. I can give you a whole lot of prayer. So I had to go see somebody to get that room, 504 Rogers Hall. And the lady that I'm about to bring into the interview was in that office at the time, the one and only Sharon Fouché, and her mentor, the person who gave her an opportunity and the dollars to go to Kean University, was Beverly Berry Baker. And so I met them, and I don't know how I was approved for what I was approved, but I moved into my dormitory, and I have to say thank you for that. So welcome to the Matthews broadcast, Ms. Sharon Fouché.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to have you here, if for nothing else, so that we can write history with our own words and our own thoughts and our own recollections. Tell me why helping our students and our family get an opportunity to higher education and what that brings. Tell us why that was such a passion for you. Your mentor is not here to speak for herself, but why was that such an important thing to you, Sharon?
In 1968, when the EOF program was started in the state of New Jersey, almost immediately after the assassination of Dr. King,
wow,
the EOF program was started at Kean, and it was Newark State then, and we didn't have funds from the state of New Jersey immediately, but the president at the time, Dr. Nathan Weiss, recognized that there had to be a change. Kean was no longer located in Newark, New Jersey. It had moved to Union many years ago. However, from the surrounding communities of Essex County, Union County, there were a number of students, a number of families who didn't have anyone in their families that had ever graduated from college. The About Time program, that's what EEO was called originally. About Time program was started a few months before legislation passed in the state of New Jersey, where actual dollars came in
Mm-hmm.
to institutions, 2-year, 4-year, private and state institution, to provide access to higher education. Because if you change the quality of life of your residents, then you improve the state.
Mm-hmm.
And EOF at that time offered an opportunity for those who wanted to go to college. Some single mothers who wanted to go to college and didn't have child care. The EEO program at Kane started the daycare center so that mothers with children and no babysitters could attend classes, and students took turns taking care of others. First year, first generation students, no one in their family had ever gone to college. That's what the EEO program, that's what EOF did at the time. It provided access to college, and then it provided support services. It provided finances to help pay for education, but most importantly, it provided that support system. It provided that personal counseling. It provided that financial assistance. It provided that academic support through tutoring. And for the first time in 1968, when there were less than 2% students of color, there was an opportunity now for students to know not only that college was possible, but that getting a college degree
Mm-hmm.
was 4 years away.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the funds that were provided by the state of New Jersey, the matching dollars that the president, Dr. Weiss, provided, Kane started off with 50 students in 1968 and has grown to hundreds. And at one point in time, there were over 1,000 students in the program. And so with that, access to higher education, the quality of life for residents in New Jersey began to change.
Absolutely did. Absolutely did. At what year did you become the person who was the principal officer for EOF at King?
I never was the director. I always worked in administration, but I was the coordinator of financial aid. I would say late 70s. And even though I wore different hats, I think most people, like yourself, also remember me for being an advocate for financial aid.
Absolutely.
The financial aid office knew that if I was coming by to see them, I wanted them to make sure that there were funds that were put aside to help EEO students.
Well, that is written in blood and stone. That is known. That is known. We have with us also this evening Ms. Sherry Peterson, who is a graduate of Kane, a successful corporate executive, a mom, and a happily married lady. So she got the trifecta, right? And Stan Neron said that in his freshman year at Kane, he got involved with the Pan-African Student Union. The Black Student Union had changed the name. And he said that he was doing some things that wasn't representing himself well. And a beautiful, intelligent upperclassman said, "Look, I got to talk to you." She's with us tonight. Now, when I called Sherry said, "I don't even remember what I said." But if you look at who he is today, if you look at who he is today, obviously there was some positive things that helped him to get his direction straightened out. So what I want to ask you, Sherry, is having come through the institution and having had an opportunity to interact with Sharon Bev Baker and others. What do you think is the importance of that community that was established there at Kane, and how administrators, faculty, and the students that were there, persons like yourself, how did that community contribute to your success that you enjoy today?
Yeah, thank you, Stan. It's really nice to be here. I think that coming into Kane, I really never thought about, a separate community of African American students. I lived right around the corner in Hillside.
Mm-hmm.
In all candor, I didn't want to go to Kane. It was
Mhm.
right around the corner. Nobody wanted to go right around the corner to school. But similar to your story, my mother said, well, I can pay for 1 year at Rutgers, or you can take the scholarship at Kane. That's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming into that environment of higher learning and just, having that community of people who talked about Afrocentricity and the red, black, and the green, and we were, wearing our dashikis, and that was just new to me, but it was so exciting to have a culture to identify with.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about some of the administrators, some of the other students. I know you talked about Jeff Carroll the last time, and he was a very important influence by the time I got there. Kenya Covington. Those are the people who came and knocked on my door and said, hey, you need to come and get involved in this, because this is all about you, and we need to make sure that our funds are there so that the things that we need to do as African American students are available to us. So that was just the beginning for me, really identifying as an African American woman, and the contribution that our people had made to society. I didn't hear about any of that until I sat in Dr. Barbara Wheeler's class, and just so many others that just kind of opened my eyes and blew the top off my head about who I was. So I think it was just a beautiful experience, and I'm grateful that I went to Kane, because I think the size of that university, it was a college at the time, it wasn't called university. It was intimate enough that you could really engage with your professors, and you could have those you couldn't get lost at Kane. You couldn't get lost.
No. Everyone in the community knew who each other was.
Yes.
Let me ask this question, Sharon. How did that community become so tight knit? We had the concerned black personnel, we had the administrators, we certainly had the students, but we were one.
Right.
How did that come about, in your opinion?
It takes a village. And because the EEO program provided access, we also had a responsibility. So even after a person got money, they needed housing. They needed to eat. They needed books. It was our responsibility to establish a relationship with all of the departments on campus that would impact the lives of EEO students. So when there was an event where we were congratulating EEO students, we invited the Kane community to our events. When there was a party for a holiday, we invited the community. If there were students that were in need as a result of that, we could pick up the phone from any department, because we functioned as a college within the college, and we had our network. We could call housing, we could call food services, we could even call the Kane Foundation and say, we have a student in need, can you help? And never, I can remember the vice president of finance, when there was a student who had an emergency. And if you're a student at Kane, sometimes it took a couple of days, maybe a week or two, to get a refund check. But because we had a community, You could get a check. The vice president said to me, "Give me till 5 o'clock. Come up and get the check."
Well, I can, Cornelius, I can say that I had a few of those calls to Sharon. But the impact that the community had on me, I could just give my own story. I got so swept up in the Kane community in terms of being an advocate for the rights of our community on the campus that I didn't pay attention to my grades until my junior year. And the director of housing at that time, Robert Maslow, myself, and your mentor, Beverly Berry Baker, had a meeting, Sherry. And I had at the time a 1.9 grade point average, which is the equivalent of a D+. So, so Bob says, "Stan, what are you going to do with your future?" I said, "I want to go to law school." And he said, "Look, you got to think about something else." I never forget, Bev said, "Bob, don't you tell him what he can't do. What I want you to tell him is what he has to do in the next 2 years so that a law school would consider him."
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll never forget
Exactly.
that meeting. But that was my community pushing back against an opinion.
Exactly.
Right? Now, I was responsible for what I had not done for 2 years.
Right.
But my community was saying, "What you want to do? What you want to do?" Well, you know, I sent a letter back to Bob Maslow in 1994 with a picture of my Juris Doctorate, right? Just because I wanted him to know that my community had my back and I had gone through, right? But when you have a community like that, you can't fall because your arms are always being
Exactly.
lifted up.
Exactly.
Sherry, did you feel the impact of the community?
Oh, absolutely. I think I was always a pretty good student. But, you know, I remember Barbara Wheeler said one time to me, "Education is painful." And I didn't really know what she meant by that, but it always kind of stuck in my mind that, you know, it was going to be hard. You were going to learn some things, maybe not in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, that were going to surprise you and maybe hurt you. But it's all a part of being smarter about everything in life. So even as I go through life as an adult and as a mom, working in the corporate environment, I'm always thinking about how am I being educated by my experiences, and some of those experiences are painful. But I think that started at Kane, and it started with that community. And I think, you know, at Kane, where we were doing things outside of the classroom to help our fellow students, was really the way I started to think about a life of service, and how you could have a life of service even in the midst of, you know, having a career and taking care of a family.
Now that is a great thing,
Yeah.
because that, you know, the trajectory of your life dovetail your success personally as well as the ability to reach back and help the community. The problem with tonight is that if I wanted to be argumentative, we wouldn't have time, right? We'd have to get sleeping bags and go. There's just so much to be said in such a short time. We have to go to the second segment, but I want to thank both of you for being here. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back and to get a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to end our segment with the way I started it, with gratitude, to thank both of you. Thank you, Sherry, for being the example that you are. Thank you for being the big sister that you were to Stan and others that probably I'm going to hear from tomorrow. Thank you for Sharon, for being that part of the community like Bev Baker that would push back so that our future could be made real. It's no small thing. You know, I tell my sons all the time, you guys stand on so many shoulders, your nose should be bleeding, right? Your head should be exploding, because so many people have made it possible. The doors that those dollars opened, the opportunities that those dollars gave, is no small thing. And I say thank you to you in all your endeavors and in all of the things that you have to do. Our prayers and our support are with you 1,000%.
Thank you
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to be back, folks. My homegirls are in the house. For all of you who said that we didn't show the better side of the Kane experience, they were here tonight. If you want to come, you're welcome to come as well. I'm going to leave those names nameless. Tori Rump heard. But we want to see you, and we will be right back. We're back in the broadcast, and we're joined by the one and only, my main man, Mr. Tony Brooks, a consummate professional, great friend, and just an awesome dad, brother, all around person from the great Morehouse University, an alum with the one and only Dr. Martin Luther King, who 50 years ago, unfortunately, in this past week, was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And so as we reflect back and look forward, we pray that, his legacy and his dream, you may have killed the dreamer, haters, but you did not kill the dream.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
So we are also joined by Mr. Claude Clay, who is a financial advisor, a very successful financial advisor, I might add, here in the broadcast. And before we get into it, I want to say we need to support our super sponsors, of which there would not be a Matthews broadcast. I said thank you to the friends earlier, but I want to say thank you to Mr. Brian Fleming this evening of Spring Hill Financial Solutions. Brian is just an awesome professional, and Brian has a company that funds your goals so that you can live your dreams, provides the funds for your goals so you can live your dreams. The most important thing about Spring Hill Financial is that it's based on far more than credit. Your approval for financing is based on far more than your credit score. So call Brian at 866-202-3990, and Spring Hill will take care of the rest. Their financing solutions start from $1,000 to $100,000. So remember, Spring Hill Financial Solutions. Secondly, the one and only Mr. Ralph Henderson. Your real estate goals are always job one, so whether you are buying or selling, he gets the job done. Simply call 856-202-3990 and ask for Super Agent Ralph Henderson. Having said thank you to Brian and Ralph, I want to bring in Mr. Tony Brooks and ask my co-host Samud Scott to ask Tony a few questions about how Brooks Wealth Strategies Groups helps their clients.
Hello.
He's also one of her favorite people.
He
So
really is.
the two of them got a special kind of
Me and
interaction.
Mrs. Brooks have a synergy that we are going to definitely explore and manifest stronger. So, good evening, Mr. Brooks. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Good.
How are you
so,
this evening?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
So, the name of your organization is?
Brooks Wealth and Risk Strategies Group.
Okay. And tell us about your organization. What type of organization is Brooks Wealth?
Brooks Wealth and Risk Strategies Group is an insurance advisory firm.
Mm-hmm.
And our primary focus is to secure the various phases of life's journeys for our clients.
I see. Okay. And the unique value your business or organization presents?
The unique value is to focus on the clients and the client's needs, not necessarily focusing on a product or focus, for that matter, as an insurance advisor, focusing on a particular carrier, but really focusing on the client and determining what's best for the client.
I see. Okay. So who's a great referral for your company?
So I do a lot of, lately I've done a lot of work with attorneys, physicians, business owners, primarily because there is a greater sense of urgency as it pertains to either protecting their income, preserving their wealth, or planning their estate.
Absolutely.
With that being said, any professional that understands that insurance can be used in a variety of ways to protect their assets or protect their income, for that matter, I welcome them.
Okay. All right. And are you offering a particular special or incentive for our viewing and listening audience?
The incentive is the sooner you reach out to me, the sooner that we can have a conversation pertaining to protecting your income. As far as discounts, no, I don't run any discounts or specials. I will say,
How about the initial consultation?
it is free.
Okay.
I'm not a fee-based financial advisor. I am an insurance advisor, but I'm not fee-based. So
Okay.
consultation is free.
All right, thank you. And so let's make sure people can reach out to you, sir. What's your contact and social media information if you have?
Sure. So my email address is tony.bwsg@gmail.com. My cell phone number is 201-892-3911. And I am on Twitter. And I am also on Facebook.
All right, what's your Twitter handle?
Um,
I'm that dude. I'm that dude, or is it
Tony Brooks.
All right.
Yeah,
Tony.
Tony Brooks.
Simple enough.
The real Tony
The
Brooks.
real
The
Tony.
real
Yeah.
Tony Brooks.
Yeah,
Tony
the
Brooks.
real Tony Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much
You're
for
very welcome. I
coming
appreciate
to our programming today.
Sure.
Mr. Claude Clay.
Hello.
CC.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Oh, very well, thank you. Very well. So tell us your what's I already said your name, but what's the name of your organization?
So I work with a firm called Allied Wealth Partners, and what we do is we work with individuals and small business owners, helping them secure their financial future and just preparing them for what the future brings.
Okay, so when you say secure their financial future, do you lend money? Like what does your company
So
do?
what we do is we review someone's current financial situation and then talk to them and figure out pretty much where they're at today, and that can show you where you're going to go. And after that, we want to make sure your investment strategies are in line with your investment objectives.
I see. So you help a person with investing then?
Yes, ma'am.
I see. Okay. And so the unique value of your business or organization, you kind of just touched on it, but if there were some bullets that we left off in there, you could share that.
So, like Tony said, my practice is also all about the client. What we do is just figure out what your goals are, and then we go from there. It's not a cookie cutter. It's personalized for everyone, and what we do is just figure out where you're trying to go and just help you from point A to point B. And there's no 800 number. You get my cell phone number. It's not like you have to talk to a robot. You're talking to a real life person that really knows what you're going through and wants to help.
Let me ask, what's a minimum investment you would work with on a person? Like some people think, I don't have 100,000, I don't have 10,000 even to put up in investments. How can you help someone with a small offering?
Well, there's actually no minimum at my firm. So I have a few people, doing $50 a month, $100 a month just into a simple savings account. And then there's other people that have a decent amount of money to invest. So there's no minimum, and we start small. So $50 a month would be the
that's
smallest
outstanding.
amount.
Great. Okay, and so are you offering any type of special incentive, including a complimentary consultation or anything?
We do have, I do offer free initial consultations that's no cost at all, no obligatory. So we just talk to you, and then if there's anything we can do, we figure it out from there.
That's wonderful. And how can people contact you, sir?
I am on social media. I'm on LinkedIn.
Of
So
course
it's
you
just-
are, because you're like 12.
Yeah, I'm 24. double that. I'm 24. Just turned 24. LinkedIn, just Claude Clay. Also, I'm on Facebook. It's on Claude Clay Allied Wealth Partners, and my cell phone number is 908-917-2786. So if you ever got a question, just give me a call.
All right.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Ramapo College of New Jersey, right up in
All right.
North Jersey.
State school, right up there in
State
Bergen
school.
County.
My mom said go to the most public, cheapest school you can get to with the best business. They didn't want to go to Rutgers, went to Ramapo.
What town did you go to high school in?
Bridgewater.
In Bridgewater.
Bridgewater High School.
So
Played
you were
football
right there
there.
in Somerset.
Right,
County.
yeah, right. Somerset County. So about 20 minutes from Somerset.
Yeah, all three of my kids are Franklin High graduates.
Ah, so
Right.
must have played them in something. Football,
Yeah,
something.
everything.
Everything.
Everything. No, that's and did you pursue any additional degrees in the area of finance, Claude?
So I graduated with my bachelor's degree in finance at Ramapo, and after that I started studying for my licensing exam. So I have my Series 7, my Series 66, my life and health. So what I do is just look at the full picture and figure out what we can do and help our clients out.
Now that is a great thing. That's a great thing. I can tell. Now the two of you have a partnership in certain kinds of ways. You guys have formed a strategic alliance. I don't know who proposed it, whether it was you or Tony. But Tony, why don't you share how you have come to endorse and recommend this young man?
Sure. Thanks, Dan. So after having a conversation with Claude, I realized that he really is about his clients. With that being said, I felt comfortable making referrals to some of my clients that have investment needs, that are looking for someone with a great deal of integrity, and I feel comfortable referring Claude because Claude has displayed that he does a thorough assessment of the client's financial picture,
Right.
so that he can make recommendations. So I'm at peace with that.
Well, Mama Yoga, Miss Scott always reminds me that we are in the age of partnership.
Yep.
We're in the age of collaboration. We're in the age of working together, that the sum is much greater than the parts. So, Claude, what do you like about working with Mr. Brooks in this strategic alliance that you guys have formed?
Just figuring out basically what a client's needs are and going through that process of asking them, what's your most important financial goal? What are you trying to achieve right now? And it's fun. It's like a puzzle trying to figure out what the strategy is to complete this goal of getting someone from point A to point B. Because some people just have a straight path and other people, got to go left and right. So I think the process of from the first meeting to, showing them the strategy, I think that's just a great part because it's just, you never know. It's something different every time. It's never the same case.
So let me ask quickly, because we're coming up on our close of our show, how important is mentorship for you from someone like Mr. Brooks?
Essential, like Miss
right.
Yoga said, I'm, a 12-year-old, so I need to learn as much as I can from, mentors, people that are experienced and kind of show me the ropes and, so what to do, what not to do, and just basically, let me know about some of their growing pains so I could hopefully avoid them.
That's right. Thank you for that.
That's right.
Thank
I've
you.
never heard you called Miss Yoga before.
The children, younger children, not
They call you
younger,
Mama Yoga.
they call me Miss Mama Yoga.
Miss Mama
Miss
Yoga.
Mama
Miss
Yoga.
Mama
I
Yoga.
saw
So
that.
Claude wasn't too far off. Miss Yoga, Miss Mama Yoga, Miss Fabulous, you can just call her. And on that note,
That's right. And you are that and more. So I just want to say thank you to both of you for being with us. Thank you for the expertise that you guys share with clients, both in your respective areas of practice. Thank you for the integrity that you both have. I have often said, and will continue to say, that we have moved from 3 epochs in this country as a people. We came here, and we all know, in a very violent chapter as chattel slaves, right? And we fought to break free from that and its aftermath. And then to get equality under the law, the civil rights period, we mentioned Dr. King earlier, came along, and we fought in that period. And some would say we're almost there, but we quite haven't finished, but gains have been made. I think the third and final challenge for the African American community here in this country is the imperative for black wealth. You must have the wealth that's necessary to have true ownership and authority in your own communities, not to be dominant over other people, but to have the kind of housing, the kind of quality education, the kind of health care, and the kind of opportunity that all of us deserve, the younger people especially. There must be the wealth necessary to do it ourselves, so that if no one else pitches in and helps, we get it done. And so we need to have professionals like you in our community. A piece of research, a factoid that I saw on the Root magazine online, Tony, said that 82% of all families, which includes us in America, has less than $1,000 in savings. So if an emergency comes, a car repair, or someone in one of our households loses a full-time job, literally 82% of Americans are 2 paychecks away from being in the street. So people like you have a tremendous obligation to teach us how to build wealth and how to prepare ourselves for those eventualities that may come. I want to thank both of you for doing that. Tony, how do people get in contact with you again to get their families proper protected?
Sure. So my email address is tony.b, as in boy, w, sg@gmail.com. My cell phone number is 201-892-3911. And I can be reached as well on LinkedIn, though I'm not 12, just a few years older than 12. But I can be reached on LinkedIn as well, Tony Brooks, and as well as on Twitter.
All right. And one more time, Claude, how can you be reached?
My email is cclay@alliedwealthpartners.com. I am available on LinkedIn. That's under just Claude Clay, CLAUDE. Clay. And I'm also on Facebook as well. And my cell phone number is 908-917-2786.
All right. Just a correction I want to give. Thank you, Claude. Spring Hill Financial Solutions that funds your goals so that you can live your dreams. Approval is based on far more than your credit score. That is capital from 1,000 to 100,000. And you can reach Brian Fleming, the CEO of Spring Hill Financial Solutions, at 201-243-4063. 201-243-4063. And of course, your real estate goals are always job one. So whether you're buying or selling, he gets the job done. Simply call 856-202-3990 and ask for our super agent, Mr. Ralph Henderson. In closing, I just want to say that tonight has been an awesome blessing for me to go down my memory lane a little bit, place where I was educated, and also to talk shop with these two super professionals that are before us tonight as they help our community move forward in the imperative for black wealth. Remember, folks, you cannot finish anything successfully until you start something confidently. Too many of us have said that we're getting ready, we're getting set, but we rarely ever go. So we're here to tell you, Mama Yoga and I, you just got to go. We were listening to something that Will Smith said this morning. Will Smith said the thing that separates the average from the good and the good from the great is discipline. The willingness to go on through it no matter how much it hurts, no matter how long it takes, get it done. So Will said there's plenty of people in the world with more skill than him, but there's very few people in the world with more will than him. His name is Will.
Yeah.
But he said, look, I'm willing to bet that nobody could outwork me. If I wanted bad enough, I knew I had to put in the time and the effort, right? So, we know that success in the world, Claude, is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration, so you got to go ahead and make it happen. There are two types of people in the world, Matthew's broadcast audience. There are dreamers like you, Mama Yoga, Miss Yoga.
Miss Mama Yoga.
Miss Mama Yoga.
Get it right.
Our image, Dr. Cornelius Hill, the one and only CEO of the Brooks Wealth Strategies Group, my great friend Tony Brooks, and our super financial advisor, Claude Clay. And Sherry Peterson and Sharon Fouché. You're all dreamers. And the second type of people in the world are dream killers. Embrace the first. Run like heck from the second.
Yeah.
This is Stan Matthews and Samut Scott, also known as Mama Yoga, and the Whole Person Prosperity Broadcast, saying good night and God bless.
Peace.
God bless.
God bless you, man.